Hello, everyone, and welcome to the theater stage. I hope you're all ready for an amazing day with some interesting talks. First up, we have Jez Reel Maghuyop, who will tell us all about how you can empower your legacy Umbraco solutions using Angular elements. Please give them a warm welcome on stage.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. So, yeah, my name is Jez Reel Maghuyop. I work as a technical advisor at Kongsberg Digital in Norway. And I'm also one of the community lead for Angular Philippines, which is FB Group, a nonprofit organization that does seminars, workshops with Angular. What I'm gonna be sharing to you today is something that helps us modernize and implement new features using the latest technology in our legacy applications in the previous company that I used to work for. And so I'm hoping that by sharing this knowledge, you'll be able to do the same if in case you have something similar in your use case. And so yeah, my topic is Power Up Legacy Umbraco application with Angular elements. Sorry for the image. I know those versions are not that old yet, but with version 10 coming up, I think it's pretty much sums up everything. And so I'm gonna be talking over what is Angular elements first, and then why do you want to use it and how you can use it. So first, going on, what is Angular Elements? So Angular Elements was released as part of Angular version 6 back in 2018, which is basically just a regular Angular components that package as a custom elements. And custom elements is part of web components that allows us to create new HTML tags that we can easily use in our page or application. And then Angular Elements is framework agnostic, which means that you can use your custom elements in other applications that uses other frameworks such as React, Vue, Polymer, or even just a vanilla JavaScript. And then it exports, Angular Elements exports the Create Custom Elements API that provides the bridge from our Angular components and Angular components interface and change detection functionality that to communicate with the built-in DOM. So why would you want to use Angular Elements? One reason that in our, or at least in our use case was we were planning to transition from a regular CMS into headless. And also for a very long time, we really wanted to also migrate from a monolithic architecture into a microservice architecture which enables each services or features to be developed a dedicated team that is only focused on developing that small feature or service. You also have the benefit of publishing your feature or part of your application independently. And then one use case from us was building custom plugins. So most of the time we try to build custom plugins, data type, and we ended up messing up with the back office styling, especially if we are using Bootstrap. So by using Angular Elements, you can take advantage of the Angular view encapsulation, which you can use Shadow DOM to prevent the styling from leaking in and out of your elements. And then, of course, reusability of your components. So in our use case, we had components that we built that we thought that could be used in other applications that we also have. And last but not the least, simply because we and our team just love Angular. Because to be honest, most of the things that I've discussed or that I've listed are also available in other frameworks such as, or libraries such as Polymer, Stencil, Lit Elements, and to name a few. But for us, we love Angular, and one of the, I guess, benefit that we gain from using Angular is that all of your custom elements have the same dependency tree, so they can pretty much share data to each other very easily. So setting up your Angular application, you need to, by using the ng-add schematics to install Angular elements, and it will install all the Angular elements dependencies and add polyfills in case, or just to make sure that custom elements are compatible with the browser. So we also need to import the do bootstrap, since with the custom elements, we have to manually bootstrap our components. And then the injector, which will resolve the dependencies of our components, and custom elements schema, which basically we will have to tell Angular that we will be using HTML tags that he might not recognize. And so we need to use that as well. And then the create custom element method that will bridge the Angular components and do our DOM APIs. Yeah, so this is how you use the custom element schema to inform Angular that you'll be using custom elements or custom tags. And then implements the do bootstrap interface. And yeah, so after you import the injector, you have to add it as the dependency of your app module. And then implement in the ng do bootstrap, which I mentioned earlier, this is where we put our custom elements to create them and then register them to the DOM. So in here, I have a custom table component. And then you can also override the existing selector or tag when you register them. So I'll hopefully be able to share the snippet later. So at the end of all of that, you should have the same structure as what you can see on the screen. And then we saw how you can set up your Angular elements. Now, let's take a look at what does our custom table component looks like. So I removed some of the stuffs that are not necessary for this presentation, but if you can, if you see that we have here two input decorators, which is the headers and data. Will we use them later to define the headers of our table, and then the body data will be used to display the body of our tables. And then we are also implementing the onChanges lifecycle hooks to cast the object that we received from our parent. So with Angular elements, even though you set the type with, for example, the headers, an array string, when you pass the data from the parent um, it will treat it as a string. That's why I'm doing a JSON parse here to convert it to to an object. Same with the body data. And then I just have a data keys function that will just return the properties or keys of an object. And then for your table, custom table component HTML, this is what it looks like. It's pretty much straightforward HTML table with looping of the headers to display each of the headers that was passed from the parent. And then with the body, again, just looping all the objects or data properties. So now we have that. This is how you use your custom elements. So this is just a plain HTML file. So you can see that I added the custom table tag and then passed the headers array as an attribute. Same with the body data. As you can see, I added 2 objects with properties name, job, and location. And also wanting to point out is that for the Pascal case variables, if we go back to the TypeScript version, if you look at the body data, you can see that it's in Pascal case. So if you use it as an attribute, you'll have to use hyphen for each capital letters. And ultimately, this is how your custom table component should look like. So communicating with Angular elements. There are 2 ways to communicate with components or custom elements with Angular elements. One is the one that I already showed you, which is the input decorator, which will communicate from parent to the child component. So basically, the index HTML will serve as the parent in that use case that passes the data from parent to child. And you already saw this sample as well on how you can pass the data. But there's also another way you can pass the data using the input decorator as well. So this is pretty much the same. But if you look closely on the HTML side, I'm using the JavaScript version. So basically using the get element by ID Angular table that I have from the custom elements. And then from there, I can just easily use the headers variable and pass the array and as well as the body data. And it should give you the same output. So the other way to communicate with Angular elements is by using the output decorator, which is for triggering an events. So I have here an action event, which is an event emitter that has the data type of any, which means I can return any data type. And I just created a simple method or function, which is trigger action, that receives a parameter action and then emits that action back to the child component or to the parent component. So for the input decorator, it is parent to child communication. For output, it is child to parent. And so using, again, the JavaScript approach, if you look at the add event listener, which is just listening to the action event and expects the data to be returned. So that's how you listen to the, or how you can communicate from parent to child using the output decorator. Next is using Shadow DOM. So Shadow DOM keeps the markup structure, style, and behavior hidden and separate from our main DOM. So for example, you have if you, in your HTML file, you have a style that has a background color. So let's say you have table that uses that background color in your application, and then you somehow uses the custom element, which is also having a table HTML tag. So again, going to the TypeScript, if you can see the encapsulation, I've declared the view encapsulation shadow DOM. So this is what it looks like without shadow DOM enabled. So by default, that is not enabled. You have to explicitly define it from your component. So as you can see, our custom element has been affected by the styles from the main application or the parent. But if you implement the shadow DOM, it will ignore or again prevent the style from leaking in and out of your custom elements, which is again helpful with when we build custom Umbraco plugins and reusable components. So if we don't want our custom elements to be influenced by the styles from the outside DOM. So next is build and configuration and lazy loading. I'll be showing you the sample application that I have. So for building your Angular application or Angular elements, I'm just going to close this out. You can use package such as the ng build plus to build your application. So there's a complete documentation how you can do that. But for this demo, I'll be using just Node for that. So let's take a look at my package.json. I hope that is visible. I have created here a script for compiling my elements, which is just the typical ng build, and then adding the output hashing flag, because if you don't add it, you'll see that, let's try it out, ng build. You'll see that in your dist folder, you'll have scripts with hash in them. But again, for this specific use case, I'm adding that flag. So I can get the name of the file as is, and it doesn't change every single time I build my application. Yeah, so as you can see here, I have main and then some hash. But if I add the hashing none, I should just get main.js, polyfills.js, runtime.js, which is easy for me later on to reference them once I concatenate all of them into one single file. So while that is happening, let's go to this custom script that I made. Again, you can use the ng build plus and other libraries available out there to do this for you. But for this simple application, I'll just want to show you that this is also possible. So I just installed the file system, then concat library. And in here, I referencing those 3 files that I'll be needing. And then I'm just making sure that I have a folder elements. This is where I will put the compiled version later. And then making sure that it is clean, doesn't have the previous compiled version in there. And then basically just copying all contents of the files that is found here into the elements folder. So at the end of the day, you should have this one compiled version that basically contains the main.js, the polyfills, and then the runtime. So now that you have that, you can pretty much so I created a simple Umbraco application just to show the so I'm just deleting this old. So this is my Umbraco application folder, and I'm just gonna copy over the new compiled version. And if I go to I'm using the starter kit for this demo. Yeah. So if somehow you ended up getting tired seeing these beautiful faces and wanted to change your UI, I already have here the custom table. And then just like in the example, I'll be adding this scripts back to populate, which and if I do a refresh, yeah, you can see your custom table. But again, we don't want to throw away your existing models that you have. So I'll be doing this instead. And then since this is the only thing that I can grab from that model, I'll just do this, and then hopefully that it worked. Yeah, so as you can see, it worked as expected. And again, if we do the check on the event, we can see that it is being triggered based on the action that's doing. So that's how you can use your Angular elements in an Umbraco application. Then there's another thing is to use lazy loading dependency. So I'm using this library. You can use this for non-Angular application, but if you're using an Angular application for your custom elements, there are other libraries available, which is this NGX lazy, and then this Angular extension elements. But again, for application, if you plan to use your custom elements in a non-Angular application, this is what I'm using. And then I'm just gonna go through the setup, and everything else is basically the same. Let me go to my feature branch. If you are interested with this branch, you can get it on my repo. It's 100% identical. Let's see. Yeah, so after you install that, you just import the NGX element module into your app module. And then you have the lazy config. And again, same with creating a custom element, you can override the name of the selector from whatever you want. And then you can also add a prefix to this. And then at the same time, you can combine it with the eager loaded component. So for main menu, side menu, media gallery, I don't care if they are eagerly loaded. But for this lazy table, you can, I'm configuring it to be lazy loaded, which means that the file needed for that component will only be loaded once the HTML detects that you are using that custom tag in your HTML. So again, I have the backup save. So you can see this 475. Just think of it as your fragments of the of your custom element, which is lazy loaded. So once the HTML detects your lazy loaded tag, I'm just gonna show, but it's pretty much the same. You can see here, Codegarden lazy table. And then everything else is the same. And again, it will only load once it detects that the custom lazy element is detected from the HTML. And again, this is my GitHub. If you're interested to see that sample application, just grab it. And that's it for my talk. Thank you so much for attending this talk.
Yes. Thank you so much yet again. Live coding, it's always quite brave, but now we have just a couple of minutes break while we turn over to the new speaker, and then we'll welcome on stage Julia, who will tell us all about web components. So a couple of minutes and we'll continue.